sometimes it's not just the voice that actors lend to the characters they play in Disney movies. In many cases, the creators-directors take some expressions and paste them to the characters. There are times animators take so much from the actors that they resemble the real person. Today we will be looking at some of the characters from the Disney universe that look just like their voice actors. To start with a classic, we have one of the most devilish voices in Disney history. Eleanor Audley didn't voice only one, but two iconic Disney characters, them being Lady Tremaine from Cinderella and Maleficent from Sleeping Beauty. Audley didn't just voice the characters. In Maleficent's case, she even staged her performance fully dressed with the characters' clothes so the animators could have the best reference possible. They also picked from several of her facial expressions and details unique to her. As the historian Jeff Lenberg once said,
"If you ever saw an actual still photo of Eleanor Audley, you can just think of Maleficent because he drew very much from her personality to bring that to life in the film."
In 1995, Disney decided to adapt to the theaters an ancient story with particular relevance to the North American culture. It was the story of the daughter of Chief Powhatan, commonly known as Pocahontas.
Disney filmmakers knew that the character of Pocahontas was at the heart of the story. They realized somehow they would have to get to know her if they were going to capture her spirit.
So one of the requirements to give authenticity to the production was to choose an actress that was of Native American ancestry, and so they did. Irene Bedard was the one taking the role, and by looking to both, it's clear that lead animator Glenn Keane took a lot of inspiration from Irene. I mean, don't they look alike? This next one is a more recent one, playing a character which is both dashing and a thief. Flynn Rider was first introduced as the romantic interest to Rapunzel from Tangled, and from the beginning the animators and crew were struggling to get his appearance right without making him too regal or too brute-looking.
What is this guy going to look like? How rugged and handsome should he be? And way too macho, you don't like the guy. And he can be too pretty boy and you don't like the guy. It was really important that there has to be a sensitivity in his eyes.
Although he was based on Gene Kelly and Errol Flynn, inspiring also his name, when animators finally got him right, it was clear that Zachary Levi was definitely an inspiration for the movements and overall look. Even his unforgettable smolder was kind of loosely based on the actor.
I didn't want to have to do this, but you leave me no choice. Here comes the smolder.
Entering the animal kingdom, how can a lion look like a person, but also a lion at the same time? At first sight, it would seem impossible, right? But like Walt Disney himself once said, it's kind of fun to do the impossible. Well, it was possible to achieve the look and personality of one of the most iconic Disney villains, mainly through the voice actor. But we're not talking about any common actor, but Jeremy Irons himself.
I had assumed, as I think a lot of the general public assume, that the picture is drawn, and then the actor comes along and puts the words to that picture. I hadn't realized that the actor was often the inspiration for the picture.
The producers wanted Irons for the role of Scar because of his hypnotizing voice and capability of giving Scar complex layers of personality due to his previous Shakespearean acting career. Andreas Deja, the lead animator that created the feline final look, got inspired by the actor's dark eyes, hollow features, and even the beard he had at the time.
So I remember Jeremy Irons looking at my drawings and the animation, he says, "Oh, for heaven's sakes, he looks like me." And I said, well, that was kind of intentional.
What's the matter? You never seen a satyr before? No.
But you certainly have seen someone before that looks just like this satyr, right? Well, if you thought about Danny Devito, you're completely right. Eric Goldberg, the animator responsible for giving life to the satyr Philocides, said he originally took his inspiration from Grumpy from the movie Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and from Bacchus from the movie Fantasia. Yes, we can see the inspiration from Grumpy on the character's short temper and in Bacchus for loving wine. Or not. Although the choice at first seemed obvious, Devito initially declined the proposal, but ended up changing his mind, creating an unforgettable version of the character with a unique force and charisma.
Oh, of course. Yes. Now he always has time for his fans.
Just by looking at him, who do you think gave voice to Maui from Moana? It's pretty obvious, right? Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson was, from the beginning of the production of the film, picked to play the Polynesian demigod, suggested by the directors. John Musker once said, "I discovered this character Maui, and I was amazed at these great tales of his great exploits, and he was Pan-Pacific. We knew that Dwayne Johnson was part Samoan. Why not hire a real demigod?" And Ron Clements added, "It was part of the Maui myth that he had these cool tattoos, and of course Dwayne had tattoos, so that was a plus too." But even though the inspiration for the character is clear, Dwayne once revealed that in order to give a truthful performance, he got inspired by his grandfather, who himself was a High Chief Peter Mavia of Samoa.
Samoans wanted him to come home to Samoa so they could bestow the family titles on him. And once that happens and you get the tattoo, you are then the family high chief.
The perfect choice. Before revealing our pick for the first place, here are some honorable mentions. Jane Lynch as Sergeant Calhoun from Wreck-It Ralph, Ed Asner as Carl Fredricksen from Pixar's Up, Rowan Atkinson as Zazu from The Lion King,
10,000 years will give you such a crick in the neck.
and to top our list, we have the incomparable performance of the beloved genie by the late Robin Williams. It all started in spring of 1991, when Williams was working on the Steven Spielberg film Hook, and Katzenberg asked if he could find time to come to the Disney studios to give his input on a project that was having difficulties structurally. So, Williams, in debt to him from previous projects, helped him out. Next, the directors John Muskers, Ron Clements, and producer Katzenberg were completely on board to cast Robin Williams as the genie. And if he said no, we were going to be in big trouble because the whole concept was built around Robin. We wrote the line specifically with him in mind. Luckily, he said yes, and the rest is history. What did you think about this list? What should we tackle next? Please leave a like and subscribe to the channel to be the first to see new videos.